Hey gang, and it's time for another What I Watched video. What I watched this past couple weeks. I had to wait because I didn't have very much to watch with all this bullshit going on in the world right now with uh, this pandemic stuff, and it's not a great time to work in a essential field like corrections, where it's getting um, yeah, where it's just stupid. We're getting ready to go on some crazy schedule with seven 12-hour days. And then we're going to have 7 12-hour or 7 days off, but I don't look for it to even begin to look like that with this. So, um, yeah, so movies are harder and harder to watch all the time. I did watch a few in the past couple weeks. Some of them I don't own, but I watched, and one of them I've already put back on the shelf after I watched it, so we'll talk about it later. So let's go ahead and just the ones that I don't own. Good Boys. It's a dick and fart joke movie about these little kids that are fuck, I don't even, they're going to a party to see people kiss or something for the first time. All it is a bunch of little kids um in beginning of puberty finding out dumb shit, and not knowing what the fuck a dildo is, and it's just not. It's one of those comedies that just why? I mean, it was like when Superbad came out, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, this is some funny shit." It might be funny, it just doesn't. I'm like, "Oh my god, look, this kid's playing with a dildo and don't know what it is," and oh no, now he's got a whatever. It's just non-enjoyable on where I put it on Letterboxd. I watched it. I didn't even rate it. It's that dumb. It's just I hated it. Next, the this is really weird. The next in the line of the Grudge movies, which typically I'm kind of a fanboy, I guess, of the Grudge. The original, uh, the um, the Asian version, um, is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. And the one with Michelle Gellar in it, is that her name? Buffy the Vampire Slayer? I think that's her name anyway. It's not terrible. It's a pretty good version of it. And even the newest ones that they've come out with, they're not bad. But they take this one a little farther. They take this one to America through the girl that worked for the people in that house gets the shit scared out of her, and it's kind of like fleas or something. She brings it home, and her family gets not infected but affected by it, and she murders her family. And then anybody that goes in the house has some of the same um, problems. There's a detective that went in there to the scene of the crime, and he was nuts. He tried to kill himself he shot himself in the head, but all he did was blow his fucking jaw off, and they fixed it. And then he ends up ripping his eyes out, and a bunch of shit. And it's the actress that plays the lead cop, and her son is quite possibly, and I hate to say this about a child, but quite possibly one of the worst young actors I've ever seen. Makes Jake Lloyd look like a fucking genius. Luckily, he's not in it that much. It's like they're standing in front of him. When he talks, they're like, "Okay, you're on the camera. Okay, now say, 'Look, Mom, let's go.'" And then he'll repeat it. That's kind of how fucking stupid this part of it is. They should have just like not had a kid or had a teenager or something like that. I don't know. But overall, it's a billion times better than Good Boys or Bad Boys, or I think it's Good Boys. So there's that. It's not a good movie though. It's by no means going to be in my horror collection, and I own all of the rest of them. Um, so Ju-on, stick with that. That's the shit right there. Stick with the Asian versions. Next is the one that I put up for some reason. It's Exorcism of Emily Rose. I literally love this. This is a great, not only semi-horror film, it's a great courtroom drama. That's basically what it is. This priest is on trial for um, basically manslaughter because the girl died during the exorcism process, and they think that they were just denying her medical attention and all this. And Jennifer Carpenter, who I had the pleasure of meeting last year at Horror Hound, I think it was Horror Hound. Was it Horror Hound? Yeah, it was Horror Hound. It's where I met Barbara Steele and this slightly known um, entertainer, Michael Wilson. I don't know if you know him or not, but I got to meet him there too. So, yeah, I love that movie. I give it high grades, and it's definitely should be watched by anybody that's a fan of just courtroom movies or horror in general. She does such a great job. They actually were going to hire, and this is just what I read, it might not be true, hire a contortionist to do different things, and um, they were hiring whatever, but the way she did her bending and twisting and things like that was so good that they just kept with her. So now, stuff that I have here. Peter Cushing in Island of Terror, random buy off Amazon a month or so ago. Absolutely fantastic monster movie. It does have a second cover, which is very plain and was probably a lobby card or maybe even a poster at the time, and a really good disc of oh yeah, that'll sell. But yeah, monster movie. A guy's trying to cure cancer, creates this monster that eats bones. So all they find is these floppy, sack of people. Just a fucking flat person with no bones in them because the monster only eats the bones. So, but still, if you like monster movies, you're gonna love it. Next, animated DC movie, which I love all of these. These are all have been really good, and this is based on an actual comic book. DC Comics used to put out these comics that were called Elseworlds. They were kind of a what if story, like what if this happened instead of this. And this story, Superman Red Sun, is what if, what if Superman's ship landed in Russia instead of Kansas, and he becomes this world-leading fucking Superman who finds out, he thinks he's doing the right thing for Russia, and he finds out that, Stalin, and then it goes bad. But if you're a fan of Superman superheroes, these animated films are not your typical animation. They are basically you get lost into it just like it's a real story. It's just like a regular movie. It's that compelling. So check it out. The something anniversary of The Wizard came out. I don't know if anybody. I know people remember this. This was from the 80s. This is a video game heavy movie. I have a lot of fond memories of this movie. It has a new cover, of course, for the anniversary. This is about a family that's broken apart a lot because of a death to one of their kids. It's kind of a family that had their own kids, and then they had kids together. But then when they got divorced after the tragedy, the brothers were all separated and things. And one of them they never really come out and say that he's autistic, but there's something just a hair different, and He's always escaping and trying to go to California, and that's what it is. But along the way, him and his brother, played by Fred Savage, meet up with this girl. And they go on this adventure across country, and they find out that he's really, really good at video games, and that they con people, and they're making money across. I guess it's kind of the color of money with video games, kind of. Anyway, it's a really, really good, heartwarming story. And for you video gamers out there, it is the debut of Super Mario Brothers 3. They go to a video game challenge in Los Angeles that's $50,000 to the winner, and they debut Super Mario Brothers 3, so it's probably 89 when this happens, and it was a big deal for people of my generation because I really, really, really remember. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I definitely remember the launch of Super Mario Brothers 3. So there's that. Come out yesterday. I already watched it. Star Wars: Rise of the Skywalker. Not very good. Not really that bad. Right down the middle. It's I've seen it twice in the theater because I've seen it in 3D, and I've watched once on Blu-ray. I liked it more each time. So it's kind of like, I'm not going to say Force Awakens because I liked Force Awakens when it came out. Last Jedi was one that I struggled with, but this one got better as time went on. I still don't, there's a couple things I don't understand why they happened, but when a director has to come in after another director fucked his stuff up and try to fix it, sometimes you just have to fix it. I mean, sometimes it's just like, maybe sometimes it's even like, let's just forget that fucking happened and keep going with this. Next one I'm not going to talk about a lot because I am going to do a Criterion Corner on this really soon, and that is Spike Lee's Bamboozled. If you have not seen this, I highly recommend this. This is one of Spike Lee's best movies, no matter what you think about him and his political views and his social views and all that shit. I'm never going to be friends with Spike Lee. He's never going to come to my house. We're not going to hang out. And I don't give a fuck what he thinks or does. But I enjoy his movies. I really do. I think he's a fantastic filmmaker and a great storyteller. So that's all that counts to me. I don't give a shit what he does on his own time or anything. What he hates, what he likes, what he does. It's not my fault he's a Knicks fan. That's the Celtics fan coming out of me. But, who gives a shit? Bamboozled. Give you a short rundown of it. I don't know if he's an executive. He's a top writer in this company that makes TV shows, and he's tired of life. He's tired of doing this. He wants out. His boss breathes down his neck all the time saying, do this, do that, you're supposed to be my big man, whatever. And so he decides to, you know what? I'm going to write the most offensive shit I could possibly write and produce this show that's so fucking offensive that this company's going to get taken down. And he decides to make a, what's it called? Variety show, kind of like Carol Burnett, which is even brought up in that type of show, which is sketch comedy and things like that. But they do it all in blackface. But it's also all black people doing blackface. They live on a watermelon patch. It is so racist. It's not even. It's way out there, and it backfires and becomes so popular. And then it's just got a lot of other, social commentary in it. It's got there's a lot of depth in it. And it's, when you just look at the cover, it's like, what in the fuck is that fucking offensive piece of shit? And I'll go into it during the Criterion Corner, but yeah, it is definitely that. Coolest thing about this movie, and I forgot totally about it. It's been out of print for a very long time. Criterion got a hold of it. It's all done, almost completely all done on those little handheld video cameras, a little with the screen popped off that were like this big, and probably took a SD card or a mini tape or something like that. And there's a lot of really grainy, almost artsy filming, like weird angles on purpose and things. Which some of that I'm like, come on, Spike, we already know you're different. You're trying to do this, but it really works, and it's a really fantastic film. So make sure you check it out. Bamboozled. I will do a Criterion Corner in the next couple days and let you know about that. Tomorrow I will film my next of my top how many ever favorite movies of all time. But now, going to bed just in case I get called in tomorrow. So, hope everybody's doing good. I hope that the world hasn't gone too nuts for you. For me, it in my family, it absolutely has sucked. My work is changing a lot. Just the prison system in general is changing a lot. It's just a lot of like nonsense. You would think that a prison would be one of the safest places to be. Of course, the workers coming in and out, whatever. But visits have shut down, all that kind of stuff. We're not on lockdown yet, but there's no interaction between houses or pods or however you know what a prison is by watching TV or movies. There's no interaction between any inmates except for the ones that live on that pod. There's just a lot of different changes that you may or may not even know what they are if I talk about them. Our business, I don't know if you guys know this, a lot of you will know this. We own, well, technically it's my wife's, but started out as a hobby of mine. But we own a comic book store called Castle Comics in our hometown, and Governor Dipshit during all this has made the order of non-essential businesses closing, and it gets to pick what a fucking essential business is, even though we can consider ourselves a financial institution because we do buy and sell stuff. Pawn shops are allowed to stay open, we're not. But at the same time, comic book companies, Marvel and DC and all those, they have halted, not, I'm not going to say publication, but they have halted distribution of comic books. So it's not like we could get new stuff in anyway. But, yeah, I hope everybody's doing okay. Stay safe. Stay the fuck inside. If you don't have anything to do, just stay away. People fucking suck anyway. This has really not affected my, social life. I get up, I go to work, I come home, I eat, might watch a movie, go to bed, wake up, repeat. So, to me, it's just the same shit. To you, maybe it's done a little bit different, but be careful out there. So until next time, guys, later.